Well, good evening, folks. Hope you're well. It's Thursday, 28th. Got to go to London tomorrow. What a drag. I'm going to let the train take the strain, but really not looking forward to it, quite frankly, because I don't know about you, but I'm becoming a bit of a agoraphobic. Um, and I was asked the other day uh, why, in previous videos, I've actually said that I've got very few friends. Yes, Billy No Mates. Well, it really is hard. It's hard for me to tolerate. Um, how can you make friends? Well, there depends how you classify friends, doesn't it, really? But, I mean, there are acquaintances who you would nod to in the morning and say good morning, and hopefully you see them regularly and say good morning regularly. But you're passing ships in the night. These are nods and winks and hellos. How are you? How's the family? Great, lovely, goodbye. Hardly friends. They are acquaintances, aren't they? But what are friends? Um, well, I don't have many. Sob, sob. It's very difficult, I find. Um, at school, I was always seems to be a bit of a loner. I was never gregarious. My character isn't extrovert. I don't need, that's the thing, I don't need friends because me, myself, and I get along just bloody fine, actually. I can think funny things if I want to amuse myself. Um, I like my own company. I like the ability to be able to just switch off. And sometimes friends can be overbearing. I've gone through my life with people I thought were friends, and I've invested a lot of time and effort and energy into the friendship. And as we're sailing along in our ship, it's evident to me that the idiot is really not prepared to put his back into rowing, and then you get involved with the parasitic friends, the ones who are friends because you've got something they want. Whether it be money, facilities, or company, I'm not going to be their form of entertainment. And I find that even on the telephone sometimes, I had friends phoning me up, work colleagues as well, that profess to be friends. Of course they're not. They are fly-by-nights. They phone you up, and this when I used to have a work in a team. How you doing? The misery loves company. They're having a tough time. They want to know if you're having a tough time too, because that's where they can have some, Schadenfreudic sort of comfort in that I'm not the only one suffering, because misery loves company. And they don't like it when you say I'm absolutely delightful. Thanks very much. Having a great time. Life couldn't get better. Oh, really? Oh, it's awful for me. And before you know it, you become citizens advice line. You almost feel like an agony aunt. And I can't be done with this because friends like that are like the crabs in the bucket that pull each other in to stop each other escaping, isn't it? Really, they're always climbing on each other's backs. They don't like the idea of you being happy. Miserable people don't do that. They phone you up and they want misery, wants company, loves company. And I'm not prepared to have my positive outlook, or that I don't want them to piss on my fire, to be honest with you. That's why I don't. And as I grow older, nothing really changes. It gets progressively worse, quite frankly, because my friend circle is ever decreasing. My wife is my best friend, I'm pleased to say. And I hope I'm hers, and it seems that way. And any major decisions, we sit and talk around and talk about the pros and cons and whether it's her decision or mine to make. I'll support any decision she wants to make after the conclusion of her thoughts. But the thing about being a conspiracy analyst, not theorist, there's plenty of conspiracies, folks. Take your pick. You got the sodium fluoride, they're all poisoning us bastards. They got the chemtrails poisoning us, the inoculations poisoning us, the food that is poisoning us, the drinks that is poisoning us. Do you think they want to poison us? I think so. Me too. There you see, we've struck up a common bond. We're both conspiracy analysts now, because there's no theory about it, folks. This is an absolute certainty that we are being totally programmed to terminate 70 years and 10. If you're lucky, you might get terminated before, to shuffle off the mortal coil. But I find making friends as a conspiracy analyst is really difficult, particularly, life is going swimmingly. You bump into someone new and you think, I quite like this person, and, hello, and, you start to phone regularly or bump in, go and have a drink with them, and yeah, yada, yada, yada. And then you see you're probing one another, aren't you? Metaphorically, hopefully. Well, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? You're forming a picture of that person's belief system. You're analysing them, and they're analysing you. It's like going on a date. Do I like them? Do I not? If it's not a date, but you know what I mean. It's like, how did your meet go with your new mate? We must get together and have a beer. This is such a cliche. We must have a drink sometime, Tony. Oh, yes. And they never do. But sometimes you can say, how about having that drink we discussed? Let's go and have a chat. You're throwing them a rope and to say, come on in, I'll be your buddy. Because, maybe, just maybe, they might be a really good friend ultimately. That's how friendships are made, aren't they? Friendship. Ship. Yes, remember that. But then you start to discover during your intercourse, your verbal intercourse between you both, certain differences in your belief systems, and if they're receptive to your views, sometimes rather than shoving it on to them and regurgitating everything you know about the conspiracies of the world, some people are frightened off by such things, but other people say, my God, you think exactly like I do, and now you have a common bond. Well, do you think about fluoride in the toothpaste? What do you think about the way that, we're inoculated? What's the agenda? And then, but just occasionally you see, I don't think I've ever met two conspiracy theorists that agree on 100% of everything between each other. But sometimes you do. You have a common blood brother, blood sister, whatever. But it's really hard. It's really hard to accumulate friends that believe in the same way as I do. And maybe you're having this problem too, because I find that people who don't believe the earth is flat, I can't believe that they would be so stupid. I think, oh my God, you see, you try. It's like feeding. It's like the problem is that you can scare people off by regurgitating too much. It's always better when you're approaching a lake and the ducks start swimming towards you that you just throw them a little bit of the loaf of bread you have in your hand, break a bit off and say, oh, fluoride in the water. Oh, chemtrail. And a little duck will come and a little duck will come. This is their interest coming. And leave it at that, and maybe the next time you can give a few more lumps. But if you throw the loaf at the duck, or the ducks, they're not going to want to be near you. Because if you're not careful, if it's a one-on-one drink you're having with a new acquaintance, it's not a Freemasonry sign, okay? It's a common joke. If you have a new person you meet and getting to know each other, male or female really is academic, I suppose, if there's nothing more in it than platonic relationship. You're sounding each other out. And but if you dump all over them, you're going to frighten them away because they'll think you're a fanatic. And I don't consider myself a fanatic. I think I'm perfectly reasonable. I'm rational. I consider most carefully the evidence out there, looking into it. I don't just take people's word for it. I do check and do my due diligence, as they call it. But the more I find out about the average Joes I meet, the less I want to know them, to be honest with you, because they're too far gone. And some people truly are too far gone. They're absolutely gone, that you cannot save them all. And sometimes this is why I'm very, very, very selective over the number of friends I have, because true, true friends are very, very hard, and they don't happen easily. You know, it's not a game of luck. It can be. I mean, I remember about 4 years ago that I went to, yes, when I used to go to them, car boot sales, and I spend a fortune at car boot sales. I absolutely adore going to car boot sales where people unload their junk on me before I became a minimalist. But, oh yes, I used to buy all sorts of trash. But the conversations I had over the pasting table, if you like, was often fun. And I used to be amazed. I was amazed at looking at the junk on the table at some of the crap people fall for when they buy it. You know, and you think, well, somebody somewhere bought this, and yes, it's on their table. It must have been them. Fools, you know. Or I do see things that I've got at home and think, oh, they were suckered into that as well, because we're so easy to sell to, some of us. We're so gullible sometimes. But not to be judgmental. But you rapidly realise within a couple of minutes when you're talking to the vendors of the car boot sales whether you like them or not, quite frankly. And there's some real miserable bastards out there, quite, you know, to be honest. Or, well, I can understand why he's miserable. Take a look at his wife. You understand me? You know, I would be miserable if I was stuck with that lard ass. Mind you, looking at her, she's got nothing to live up to, has she? Looking at him. And, you know, so I have a hay fever sort of attack today. It's very... But I look and I think, well, that's judgmental. Perhaps he's a lovely guy. Maybe she's a lovely woman. It shouldn't all be on the size. But it's an early litmus test, isn't it? You know, you think, well, why don't you get some self-respect, love? You know, she's got to be 18 stone, and she has the temerity to wear sleeveless top and bingo wings hanging down, and perhaps she just doesn't give a shit. Well, hats off to her then. Why should she give a shit about what other people think about her? Well, that sort of attitude progresses through a household, no doubt. You know, I bet she doesn't mind living in squalor. And then you look down at the children who've got snotty little noses, and they could have doing a good wash, and they're eating crap out of a bag of crisps. That's for their dinner. What do they have for breakfast then? Yeah, you know. And this is, you build pictures up, as I do. You look at the family unit, which is often behind a pasting table at a car boot sale, and you can pretty much surmise, you know. But then you get the 4x4x4s turning up at car boot sales. And you think, oh, this would be interesting. You know, out, look, the flap opens, out she comes. She's got the fake tan on. She's pushing 45. She's got the mini on. God knows why she's got the mini on. You know, and she's got the Christian Dior sunglasses stuck on her head like this. You know, and she's, we're here, Daphne, stop it, put it down. And their children are often called Tristan and Jemima, you know, or Tarquin. and they got the biggest load of shit on their table, and 99% of it is designer clothing. You know, I noticed that. And where are the husbands? They're not there. It's the girl's day out, you know, and he's probably down the pub with the lads, down the local brothel, or playing around a golf and thinking, thank Christ the nagging bitch is gone. You know, he's not interested in what money she brings home because, well, despite him having probably paid for it all, it wouldn't be her Range Rover, not a Vogue, not like her. You know, you can see it. Or was it a divorce settlement? That's always another question in my heart. You often see these girls, you know, selling his stuff off while he's pissed off. Yes, who owned this nice watch here then? Oh, yeah, yeah. You ask these questions, they don't want to say they've got it off their ex, you know, and it's an unwanted birthday present. And you just look at the rings of such people, there's one on every finger, you know, and this is how judgmental I am. And it is a failing, because maybe she's a lovely girl. But you often think, well, hang on a minute, lovely girls, yeah, okay, she's mutton dressed as lamb, for sure is she mutton dressed as lamb. And the world is full of such people. Why can't she just be herself and accept that she's 45 and kicking it and she ain't got it anymore? But she's desperately hanging on with both hands. And this is how I think. And these the show, the big pretense with Tristan and Jemima and Tarquin, and her friend, normally women like this have got a friend they can dominate. They take control over the pasting table. Move it along. Jenny, no, Jenny. I'll slap you in a minute, Jenny. This is Jenny, her friend, who's come along for the day. Yes dear, no dear. The sidekick, because dominant bitches like this with Kristen Dior, these are the ones that drop their kids off right outside school and block all the lanes of traffic and go like that to you. And say, oh, why don't you get the kids to walk to school? Look at the size of them. They could do with the exercise. And this is what thoroughly pisses me off in my day, another day, is kids getting dropped off by their parents outside school and picked up, the lazy little shits. Where are the kids' bikes? Why don't they have bicycles, kids going to school? We don't now. I go past the local grammar school here. All the kids are well capable of walking or getting a bus. Oh no, it's the 4x4x5 brigade. Yes, it happens to be a grammar school. A very nice one. Same one as Enoch Powell went to, quite frankly. Nice grammar school. And yes, even then the little brats get dropped off outside. And they aren't that little. I mean, we're looking at, 13, 14, 15, maybe 16-year-olds getting out, bye mum, ciao. You think, why don't you get a bike? Why don't you get a bicycle or get yourself a moped or something, or get a bus and stop clogging up. But 4x4s can park anywhere they like because they got 4x4x5. Well, I could have a 4x4x5, but I don't. Because I'd have absolutely no need. And most 4x4x5s you see driving around have got a dickhead in them, driving with Christian Dior sunglasses, the crop blonde, the peroxide blonde. I mean, I like your hair, love, it's nice and blonde, but why'd you dye your roots black? That sort of blonde, yeah. And she's got all the gold. She's got the works, man. And she just parks where the hell she likes to dump them off. And then expects everyone to let her through because she's got a 4x4x5. I don't have 4x4x5 envy. But I get thoroughly pissed off with these people. And you see them at car boot sales. And then you think, now I know why I'm even more pissed off with these people. Because nothing's improved. I haven't increased or better my opinion of them. It's just compounded my beliefs were true, were right. These people are dicks. And they are patronising, they are, they are smug. Everything they're selling on their table is top-notch, perfect. What you don't do. And they're organising. Oh, don't get me started on such people. You see, that's the problem I've got. It's an emotional problem. I know I deal with it every day. It sounds very arrogant of me. And I'm really not arrogant. I'm fundamentally a very amiable person. But I'm intolerant. I'm a no-go zone for bullshit out of people anymore. I've been there, done it, got the t-shirt. I've mixed with some real hoity-toities, the Sirs, Knights of the Realm and all this lot. I really have, honestly have. One of my best friends was a guy called Sir Geoffrey Tuttle. He was the Marshal of the Royal Air Force, believe it or not. A great friend we turned into, great friendship, he and I. Yes. He was a flat earther, believe it or not. Yes, I knew him when I was 19. No, 19. Well, there we are. So, friends, we started off talking about. Why don't I have many friends? The friends I do have are very special to me. And I give them plenty of wiggle room. I don't hassle them and they're welcome to call me and we can have a good chat. But as I said, my wife is my best friend and I put my family first. Okay. And it's always lovely spending time with friends, because all my friends know my very deep innermost thoughts. Well, most of them. And we all are on the same wavelength. And if we do differ, we just agree to differ on certain things, and I don't lambast them for that. I think, give it time, the duck will get closer. I have a friend who absolutely denies chemtrails. Don't be so bloody stupid. Okay. But he's slowly coming round. And I think, well, give them time, because people have to get their mental monsters and their ducks in a row in their mind, because it's a hard thing to do, isn't it? You really don't want to vomit metaphorically over everybody you meet about everything you've recently learnt or thought for most of your life. I learnt that lesson very quickly. I put a lot of people off becoming my friend. I scared them away. They thought I was an absolute lunatic. But it's not lunacy, is it? It's not lunacy wanting to know. But most people, you see, they read it, if it's not in the newspaper or it's not on telly, it doesn't exist as a problem, and they wouldn't do it to us. These people believe the television, that liar. That's why it's called tell lie, vision. Tell lies, vision. Television. It's a lying box in the corner of the lounge. Well, I'm very proud to say I've got a really, really nice big telly. It's a curved one. I don't know why I bought a curved one, but I was suckered into it on such a good deal, but I'm glad I did. It's a Samsung Curve. I'm not sure if it's 50 or 48 or something like that, but I'm very pleased with it, but it's rarely on. My wife doesn't watch TV at all. Children have fled the nests and gone, and I don't watch TV, but I do watch Netflix. The great invention of the modern era. And then the telly goes off once I've finished watching what I want to watch on Netflix. And 99% of the time I'm staring at my computer screen doing work, or educating myself in many ways, doing research and doing these videos. But who knows, I might just phone my brother and have a chat. I have 3 brothers left, and I've got my oldest brother, who is a retired dentist. I love him to bits, and his children have fled the nest. And then I have another brother who's in charge of, in his job I have to be a bit private with him. He's in a very cushy number. Another brother of mine, my next older brother from me, is got his own very, very, very successful computer company. So I can leave it at that, but I can call them, but I respect their evening time as much as anybody else. So not only do I have my brothers to turn to, I have my wife, and I can phone my children, so I'm not really lonely in that respect. But I can't be bothered now with friends in that respect. I don't go out boozing, I don't drink. I have no reason to sit in a pub and pay for a pint, or a pint of lemonade, or whatever I drink, orange juice. Well, why? But I can have it at home, thanks, without having to do with the general public. And I'm becoming very agoraphobic. This is what I said earlier on. I can't be bothered with it all now, and I'm borderline hermit. And I get told, you don't go out very often. You do. I do, actually. But I do go out, but I'm a loner. My hobbies are loners. I go fly fishing. I absolutely adore fly fishing, but it hasn't been the weather lately. I go flying, but I can't fly on my own now because I had a heart problem, so I have to find someone who'll fly with me, although I do the lot. He just reads the paper. Well, I've given that up as a bad lot, to be honest, because I'm fed up of going round and round the garden like a teddy bear. But I proved to myself that the earth is flat, flying myself around. The artificial horizon remains an horizon, and I don't have to keep pushing the stick forward to follow the curvature of the earth, folks. Yes. And I've never used curvature in a calculation for navigation either. It's not there, you see. Anyone who's a pilot, if they're brutally honest, I mean, there are pilots out there that are convinced that we're living on a ball, bless their hearts. They just don't want to say it in case they lose their jobs. Yes. Yeah, other hobbies I have. I make ormus, which is a nice little sideline, and I make colloidal silver. Very, very powerful nanoparticle colloidal silver. And you can find out what that is yourself, colloidal silver. So I'm always busy. I do busy myself, but they're involving most of the time. It's just me, myself, and I am absolutely content. And I couldn't think of anything worse than having friends after friends and friends phoning me up wanting things. Can I borrow this? Can you lend me some of that? You know, you're coming out. I have limited free time. And what I do in my free time, I want carte blanche. I want to write the check with what I do with my free time. I hate, and I mean that, hate being obliged by other people's demand on me. And I have to learn, and I do, and it really offends people sometimes. I'm sorry about that, but there we are. Dad, can you do that? No, I can't. And the big, why not? As though they're hurt. Why? Because I have limited time, and it's really valuable to me, and I prefer to use my time doing things I want to do because my time is so limited this weekend. And I want to choose it to spend like currency on myself. I simply don't have the time. Because I know that they're a wastrel. I know that they've been putting it off, or they expect other people to do it and spend their time helping them out. When they've had, historically, all the time in the world, and they've left it, and you've just watched them leave it, and then they ask you to come and do it for them. No, I won't. It's about time people like that learnt. If you want something doing, do it yourself. But don't have the cheek to ask other people to spend their time, because we only have a limited amount of spare time. You find that the most productive people are the busiest people. The most successful people in life are the busiest people. Show me somebody who does nothing that achieves much. They don't. But they want your time. And I find that terribly unreasonable. So it's ever likely I'm such a miserable bastard towards these people because I'm not really interested in their friendship. Because who needs enemies when you've got friends like that? Yeah, you know, it's not my bag, as it says. So friends are a double-edged sword, and it's wise to have. I'd rather have 3 fantastic friends that I can rely on and stake my life on them than 50 great mates. No. Great mates. No thanks. Because you know, and I know, you know, that the people that you meet now, in your 5 years, the chances are they won't be in your life. And it's rather strange. I moved from a very snotty little village to another snotty little village. And in that first snotty little village, I thought I had a lot of friends. Oh yes, morning. It's all very much 1930s in Britain. That's what it was like in this snotty little village. And the only time I saw an Indian was inside the Indian takeaway, quite frankly. Or a Muslim, well, I don't think I saw one. No disrespect. You know, it was like Britain in the 20s and 30s. It's a fabulous little village. And then the pubs, the youngsters from out of town started to drive into the pubs. And then you rapidly realise the quaint cottages that used to be able to leave their flowers outside the front door, geraniums in pots as decoration, were getting kicked in and smashed and put through their windows. And the whole village started to deteriorate because the Millennials had hit the scene. So I said to my wife, it's time to depart. We'll go and find another little place just like this. Used to be. And we did. And we love it where we are. And we're very happy where we are. But it won't take long. Already now in the green belt where I live, There's planning permission being sought 4 times for a plot of land to build a mosque. A mosque. And they are, on top of that, they want parking for at least 300 cars, God knows why. And they want a cemetery, a Muslim cemetery. That's in the planning application. It's been turned down 4 bloody times. And I'm sure they'll put it in again. It's been turned down 4 times because it's greenbelt land for a start. And you shouldn't build on, you can't build. But what the problem is, you see, my objection to it, and I did object to the planning permission, was that Muslims can already bury their dead in land that has been allocated to them by the church. Our churches, every church in this land has an allocation for the Islamic faith, for Muslims to be buried in. But they want their own burial grounds with the mosques now, it seems. Well, I'm a NIMBY, not in my backyard, okay, because I have to spend my time moving again, because I couldn't tolerate looking at the bloody thing on the skyline, the mosque I mean. You know, pull the curtains back, there it is, you know, the moon and star, no thanks. So this is what I find myself battling with. It won't be a long battle, I mean, you know, to be honest with you. I don't think they'll get the planning permission, but if they get it, I'm moving. It's as simple as that. I will move and go and live in the woods. If I can find a house in the woods, oh, wouldn't it be nice? Oh, yeah. My brother, my oldest brother, lives practically in the woods, and I'm so jealous, but it's another world that he lives in. But that would be my ideal. I would like to live in the woods, in a wood cabin, far from the maddening crowd. So who needs friends? Well, as I grow older, I just become more selective. And as I become more educated in the conspiracies that are happening around us, I have to use those as litmus tests to see if my friends are suitable to be my friend. It sounds terribly arrogant. Not good enough to be my friend, but at least on the same level, or willing to listen and be brought up to my level. Because what you'll find is the person you become as a youngster will depend on the information you believe, the people you associate with, okay, and the environment in which you exist within. And that changes throughout our lives. And we have to be vigilant all the time about people who want to pollute and bring you down to their level. Don't let people do this to you in your life. There's always people willing to pull you down, to make them, or to stand on you, and to belittle you and use you. This is truly a dreadful world that we're living on. But it's not the world, is it? It's the people. Fundamentally, human beings are under the influence of such hidden force of evil. At what stage in our history did this evil prevail upon us? Something wicked. It's not something wicked this way comes. It's something wicked is here. And they even said it in the American governments. I can't remember. I'm not sure if it was Eisenhower, one of the first American presidents, one of the very early American presidents said, there is an evil force of such magnitude in the shadows, the hidden hand, as David Icke calls them, that is a purveyor of everything we do in this world. There is an influence, and you would do well not to mention it, because even if you said it under your breath, that's how you have to pass that on, because it does exist. And this is why people are getting knocked off left, right and centre. Politicians, bankers that don't want to toe the line, those who are whistleblowers meet their maker a lot quicker than you or I, probably. And you often wonder who is calling the shots. And it's not the 1%ers, it's not the politicians, it's way above. It's way above, folks. It's in the ether, this evil thoughts. It's been around since human beings were engineered. And don't give me the Darwinian theory crap, really. I'm not really interested. Darwin. Never mind. He didn't write that book, Mr. Darwin. It was his friend. Darwin just financed the whole bloody thing. The Origin of Species and other books that he allegedly wrote. And it was the other guy's name will come to me, but he had a writer that did all the grunt work, and Wallace, I think it was Henry Wallace or James Wallace, something like that. I think it might have been Henry Wallace, but it's certainly a surname of Wallace that was the main contributor to the Origin of Species, and even he was wrong. You know, man, human, us didn't crawl out of the bloody water. So we're not apes, we were engineered. We are in the image of our creators. And I say us as a plural. Yes. Well, there we are, folks. I've rattled on long enough. It's best to have 5 good friends than 50 acquaintances or those you think are your friends. And enjoy them. It's rather like choosing the best out of a dairy box of sweets, isn't it? Dairy chocolates, dairy milk. I've only got 3 favourites. How can you have 3 favourites? Well, I wouldn't be disappointed if I ate one of 3 types in a dairy box. And people like that, you can pick them out, but be careful, because some of them have a very hard centre, don't they? So ask yourself 3 questions. What's in it for me? What's in it for them? And why do they want to be my buddy? And are they at your level? And I'm not talking academic level. I'm on about your spiritual level. I don't care if people are rich or poor, black or white, quite frankly. As long as they sing my song and believe my song and believe my words, and I'll believe theirs, we'll get on like houses on fire. But there's no point trying to put a square peg in a round hole. And it's not worth the effort. So pick your friends very wisely. And remember that. Don't judge somebody by the number of friends they have. It is no litmus test for their character. They could just have lots of idiots they call friends, just like them. Choose your friends very wisely, and you won't go far wrong. I hope there's no Freemason signs in this video today. It's a private joke. Catch you all. Love you. See you.